Hello learners, welcome to another lesson. This is Lesson 1, Introduction to Academic Writing. According to thoughtco.com, academic writing is any written work produced in an academic setting. Academic writing follows a particular tone which uses concise, formal, and objective language. It also adheres to traditional conventions of punctuation, grammar, and spelling. At this part, you have to double check everything that is written on your paper, from punctuations, grammar rules, spellings, and other technical aspects before you submit it. The following examples of academic writing are book report, translation, research essays, research paper, academic journal, conference paper, blog article, dissertation, thesis. As you can see, those examples are formal and follow the rules of academic writing. Next one, we have Lesson 1.1, Nature and Structure of Academic Writing. The first nature is academic writing texts begin with clear assumptions. This idea sets the tone of the entire paper, and there could be no way for one to further develop the article without this so-called thesis or assumption. In this part, it is very important to plan your argument, analyze the task, and know your target audience. When we say thesis, it refers to every paper you write should have a main point, a main idea, or central message. The argument or arguments you make in your paper should reflect this main idea. The sentence that captures your position on this main idea is what we call a thesis statement. So without thesis statement, everything is a mess. And aside from that, there is no clear way for you to create an effective and efficient academic text writing or academic writing. So once again, thesis refers to main point, main idea, or central message. That's it. On the other hand, an assumption can be proved or disproved, and an assumption can be expressed only as a complete declarative sentence. When we say declarative sentence, it is not a question, it is not a word or phrase, and most especially, it is not a fragment. So here are two ways that assumption is not like a thesis. The author never tries to prove an assumption, whereas the author always tries to prove the thesis. So the thesis is what the paper is aiming at, and the assumptions are what it starts from. Get it? The second one is academic writing texts rely on several sources. Writing about a certain phenomenon demands keen observation on the many aspects that contribute to it. The author's observation is one among many, but it is not enough to prove something. It requires other observations from people who work on the same topic, as they may provide equally compelling findings that would surely lend strength and credibility to one's study. But the most important thing to remember as you look for sources, it must be directly related to your chosen topic. Now listen, how can you find a credible source? First, be skeptical. Second, examine the sources and authors' credentials and affiliations. Third, evaluate what sources are cited by the author. Next, make sure the source is up to date. Another one, check the endorsement and reviews that the source received. And lastly, check if the publisher of the source is reputable. In other words, it should be legit. If you ask me why, because you want to know exactly why a source was produced by whom and whether the author has the authority to make the claims he or she makes. So when evaluating websites, remember to check for things like domain names, author's credentials, organization title, and etc. And the most important thing, it should be relevant to your topic. The third one is academic writing text use formal words. Here, informality has no room when it comes to academic writing. Always remember the following rules. First, do not use verb phrase. When we say verb phrase, it is a combination of two verbs being used in a sentence. For example, the verb phrase move in. Instead of using the verb phrase move in, you have to transfer it or transform it in a verb or in a single verb like transfer. So instead of using move in, use transfer to make it formal. Next one, do not use informal expression or colloquial words such as shortcut words. For example, using feel in a sentence is informal. So instead of writing feel, you have to write Philippines. Write it or write the word as a whole. Another thing, when you are writing bro, it is not like that. It's informal. Always remember that we are talking about formal writing or academic writing. So instead of bro, use brother. Next, do not use contraction. Contraction is also a way of making a shortcut. For example, we have I'm. So instead of writing I'm, you have to write it as a whole word. I am. Isn't, is not. Weren't, we're not. Where, we are. And etc. Next, do not use idiomatic expressions. When we say idiomatic expressions, it refers to the following examples. We have, it's a piece of cake, which means it's easy. It's raining cats and dogs. It means it's raining hard. Kill two birds with one stone. It means to get two things done with a single action. Or let the cat out of the bag. It means give away a secret. So you don't have or you are not allowed to use idiomatic expressions because it is not for academic writing. It is for creative writing. So it is not intended for academic writing. Again, do not use idiomatic expressions. Next, do not use personal pronouns pertain to yourself. For example, I'm, my, we, us, are. Again, do not use personal pronouns pertain to yourself. It should be always in the third person, like they, she, he, and the like. Next one, do not use rhetorical questions like what is happiness? What is love? What makes go world around? And lastly, we have academic writing texts end with valid conclusion. Valid conclusions are always drawn from accurate sources and logical reasoning. A hanging article is definitely out of picture. Now listen up. It is important to write a good introduction. It is important to keep things organized in the main body of your writing. And it is important to write a good conclusion. Now in a non-fiction piece, the purpose of a conclusion is to tie things up, summarize what has been said, and reinforce the main idea. Now, a good way to get started writing conclusions is to give yourself a starting point. You can begin with any of the following: to sum up, in conclusion, in summary. Make sure these sound appropriate and fit well with what you've written. As you grow as a writer, you might want to leave this behind and try other strategies. A conclusion is the opposite of the introduction. And remember that the introduction begins general and ends specific. And the conclusion begins specific and moves to the general. So, ganun po. Now, let's proceed to the structures of academic text. We have the following: description, sequence, comparison, problem and solution, cause and effect. First, we have description. When we say description, it is the author describes a topic by listing characteristics, features, and examples. Now, there are three things to remember when writing it. First, keep it concise. When we say keep it concise, it doesn't mean that you all need is a couple of sentences. The thing is, you will still need to include the overview of the topic. Next, keep it clean. It means use proper grammar and punctuation, and make sure that all bullet points, all the important points are being highlighted. Not literal that there is a highlighter, but it is being emphasized. Third and lastly, keep it consistent. This brings you to your next and final point. And one way to make sure that you maintain consistency is when your writing has a good outcome and relevant, which means it is directly related within your topic. Next one, we have sequence. When we say sequence, the author lists items or events in numerical or chronological order. Now, why is it important for us to know the sequence? It is one of many skills that contributes to students' ability to comprehend what they read or what they have read. So the ability to sequence events in a text or even in your writings is a key comprehension strategy. And sequencing is also an important component of problem solving across subjects, more often in your topic. So you are also a problem solving person, or should I say problem solver. And one of the most obvious reasons why sequence is important, it's because for you to deliver the message in order or in a good order, in orderly, not in a rumble way. Because aside from you, your readers will also get confused if ever that it is not arranged in accordingly or in chronologically. That's it. Next, comparison. Here, the author explains how two or more things are alike and or how they are different. So it is self-explanatory, comparing two things. What are their differences and what are their similarities? The fourth one is problem and solution. It means the author states a problem and lists one or more solutions for the problem. Just like what I have said a while ago, you are a problem solver. So you are responsible to find the solution within your topic. And the answers should be directly related within the questions you put at the beginning of your academic writing. And lastly, we have cause and effect. It means the author lists one or more causes and the resulting effect or effects. So just a bit review, when we say cause, it is the thing that makes other things happen. And when we say effect, it refers to what results. It is what happened next in the text that results from preceding cause. So to put it concisely, cause is the why something happened and effect is the what happened. So as a writer, it is good to end your introduction with a thesis that states the main cause, the main effect, or both. Now let's proceed with the purposes of academic writing. First, we have persuasive purpose. When we say persuasive purpose, its aim is to get your readers to adapt your answer to the question. How? Choose one answer to your question and support it, just like that. Examples, argumentative and position papers. Next one, we have analytical purpose. Its main purpose or aim is to explain and evaluate possible answers to your question. Analysis, analytical. Possible answers, evaluation. How? Choose the best answer or answers based on your own criteria. Examples, analysis papers and critical analysis. From the word itself, you're going to evaluate. When you are analyzing something, you are evaluating something. So that is for judgment. The third one, we have informative purpose. Its aim or purpose is to explain possible answers to your question. How? By explaining possible answers to your question. What are the examples? It could be reports, books, reference texts. So that is informative purpose. From the word itself, informative, information. So the information came from the reports, books, and reference texts. So that's it. Next one, we have strategies in reading academic writing. We have the following concepts. We have paraphrasing, summarizing, synthesizing, and outlining. So we have paraphrasing. When we say paraphrasing, it means being able to get the gist of, say, a paragraph and put it in different words without sacrificing or altering the original meaning. Now, in order for you to avoid plagiarism, you have to paraphrase the idea. Or else, plagiarism. Because when we say plagiarism, it is considered academic dishonesty. In other words, it is a serious ethical offense if ever you commit it. Next one, we have summarizing. So based from the word itself, I know that all of you are familiar with it. When we say summarizing, it's simply telling what the material is about means, summarizing it. Analysis is needless as one is only asked to cite the general observation of what it contains. This is helpful when it comes to providing objective descriptions of certain texts. So in other words, you are just giving the overall texts or what is the overall text all about. So that's it. You're just going to summarize it. You're just going to make it shortened, but still the message are there. Or the message is there. Another one, we have outlining. In outlining, be it traditional or modern format of an outline, the commonality is the purpose, which is to provide the backbone of the material. Outline, backbone. It is more convenient to summarize a text with the help of an outline. So if we're going to break down the word outline, it means a general description or plan giving the essential features of something but not detail. Outline, not detail. It's just a guide for you to come up with summarization or summary. And last but not the least, we have synthesizing. It means pulling things together to come up with a general view makes synthesizing a challenging task more than summarizing. Why is it? Because synthesizing simply means combining. Instead of summarizing the main points of each source in turn, you put together the ideas and findings of multiple sources in order to make an overall point. So, an example of synthesis is when you read several books and use all of the information to come up with a thesis on the subject. That's all. Thanks for watching. See you in my next one. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more lessons to learn. Bye!